This is from Good Law Project. And this is a bit specific. And it might not look as good as it sounds when we look at it, but it is positive. The EHRC formally abandons single-sex toilet stipulation. So this isn't them saying, actually, trans people are fine and they can use whatever facilities they want, just like they have been for the last 100 years, whatever. That isn't what's happened. The EHRC, actually, maybe we can just look at it and I'll explain if it's not clear. The EHRC has now abandoned its contention that employers must provide single-sex toilets following the service by Good Law Project of its claim for judicial review. So, yeah, the initial position, which rushed out in the aftermath of the Supreme Court decision, states in workplaces it is compulsory to provide sufficient single-sex toilets as well as sufficient single-sex changing rooms and for washing facilities where they are needed. Now, you just need to decode this into transphobic, turf island, gender-critical, legal nonsense. Or decode it from that. When the EHRC says you must provide single-sex toilets, you might think, oh yeah, well, my workplace has a men's and a women's. Mine has a men's and a women's. So that's fine. That isn't what they're saying. They are saying, when they say single sex, they mean excluding trans people. The claim by the current EHRC, based on the other things that they are saying, is that in this claim, workplaces must create a situation which has separate toilets for men and women and that bans trans people from using those. That was their original claim. And they have changed their position. Their position now is, in relation to workplaces, requirements are set out in the Workplace Regulations 1992. These require suitable and sufficient facilities to be provided, including toilets and sometimes changing facilities and showers. Toilets, showers, and changing facilities may be mixed sex, where they are in a separate lockable room for the inside. So, all toilets in the UK effectively meet this requirement. So they're now saying you are allowed to provide facilities where trans people are allowed in. What isn't clear and what is made difficult by this ruling is previously, by the Supreme Court ruling, previously if you're an employer, like a small employer, you might say, I've got 2 toilets, one is for men and one is for women. And I'm saying all the men should use the men's one and all the women should use the women's one. And that includes trans people. And if you had a male employee insist on using the women's toilets for whatever weird reason, then you could have potentially had legally protected disciplinary against this person who didn't respect the facilities or whatever. Now with the new ruling, that is weakened because you cannot claim that facilities are single sex. Even if you put men's and women's on the door and then understood to be men's and women's toilets, you cannot claim they are single sex if you don't explicitly ban trans people from them. Or at least this is my understanding. #clarity. So now, basically, all toilets are legally mixed sex, unless you explicitly ban trans people from them, which most places won't do. And anywhere that does will be just ignored anyway. But that is okay. But if you wanted to actually ban cis men from the women's toilets, you wouldn't be quite so legally protected to do so now. Probably. So this is this isn't really a win for trans people, and this isn't really a win for the gender criticals, and this is not really a win. This isn't really a win for anyone. They have accidentally ruled that all toilets in the UK are mixed sex now. So it's kind of stupid. I don't think anyone's benefited from this at all. Like, the gender criticals don't get to feel good that they're hurting us because they can't ban us, really. And we don't gain anything here. And cis people don't gain anything. So this is their, like, side-to-side change. But they didn't announce this in their press release. They just sneakily changed it. Because, of course, they did. But the important thing to point out here is the EHRC are trying to cause as much harm to trans people as they can. They're trying to see what they can get away with. And through political pressure from you guys, turning up to mass lobbies, writing to your MPs, and from legal pressure, like from Good Law Project, and there's like multiple groups suing them for multiple reasons. They're having to backtrack. They're having to push back. They're having to change things. That is good. Like, this might be like the shittest win of all time, because this hate group wanted to enforce a bathroom ban, and now they've said bathroom bans are allowed, but also you don't have to do one. Like, hooray! But that is positive. That is a step towards a better world, even if it's gone from being like absolutely horrific to kind of bad. And I just think we need to keep pushing. Like, it's happening. We are making a difference. Keep going. We can get them to back down on more stuff, change their position, get Parliament to put pressure on them. So that's a good thing. Now, there is something I wanted to go through a little bit more. So perhaps I'll just point you to this. Trans Advocacy and Complaints Collective, who, if any of them are watching, your website, like, it'd be good if, like, most things are, like, in a column like this, so that it's just a bit easier to read than whole screen. Just, I don't know. This is just my personal feedback. Hard to get it all on the screen for a stream as well. But anyway, they have got some leaks, basically. And what they have found is that the EHRC had closed-door meetings with Sex Matters where they basically, like, schemed to undermine the Equality Act. Like, actual conspiracy stuff. They were arguing that trans women and trans men don't exist, and so they were trying to, like, find ways of getting around it. There is a lot here. They got loads of leaks. It's good reading. I wanted to go through the article. I just don't have time. Maybe we'll go through it in the future. But like, this stuff is worth checking out. If you're going to write to your MP, it might be worth pointing out how the EHRC have been conspiring with like hate groups to try and undermine the law. There is also a public letter here which you can sign, which we'll try and put in the description. You can demand an inquiry into the EHRC's handling of trans rights. This kind of stuff is what you can say in there. Like, there's an open letter, but you could also write to your MP.